Stanley Cup Series. What a finish!
Too little, too late from behind, and Sebastian Marin, your first repeat top split winner of the qualifying series.
I knew it was just a matter of time when Hunter Sr. is victorious.
Josh Adams taking the win at Iowa.
GC Spider Motorsports takes home the 1-2-3 finish.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the legendary Watkins Glen International, where tonight West Coast Sim Racing takes on one of North America's most iconic road courses. Presented by V-Speed, drivers are set to tackle the high-speed sweeps, heavy braking zones, and unforgiving curbs that make up the Glen, a true driver's circuit. From the charge through turn one to the technical demands of the bus stop chicane and the long drafting battles down the back straightaway, every lap here is a test of bravery, precision, and racecraft. For championship points, pride, and bragging rights are all on the line tonight as some of the fastest sim racers from coast to coast are racing tonight. Strap in, folks, because the green flag is coming up at Watkins Glen, brought to you by West Coast Sim Racing. This is the GT Challenge, driving the Porsche Carrera 992.2 Cups, brought to you by Vantage Roofing Solutions, being our sponsor for tonight's race. Thank you very much to Vantage Roofing Solutions. This is only round 3 of a long championship run, but so the points are going to stay tight. Daytona, Hockenheim, and Watkins Glen, that's where we've been, that's where we're running. Spa, Sebring, and Monza before we get to the halfway point. Like I said, it's time for the championship points. Josh Hunter, Nathaniel Redmond, Brennan Myers, all separated by just 5. Zach Sevier, Edwin Onofre, Sergio Orestes, Mitch Crowther, Jacob Luthard, Lim, Lewis Holloway, Joe Rainey round out your top 10. Aliski Andre, Tarnaki Cunningham, Igor Rizal, George Lawrence, Andreas Profina, Derek Johnson, Warren Johnson, Miles Guerrero, Dylan Lee, and Colton Juarez round out the top 20 in this championship. Two wins, one apiece for Josh Hunter and Nathaniel Redmond in the opening stages. These are the points after the drop rounds of the points championship are going to get tighter and tighter as things go on. Let's take a look at the track info we have for Watkins Glen tonight. Track length of 3.4 miles or 5.5 kilometers. Founded in 1956, been unchanged from 71. We are located in Watkins Glen, New York, America. It has 11 corners, 6 to the left, 5 to the right, with 141 feet of elevation change. Tonight's race is going to be 45 minutes in length with a pit road speed of around 50 miles per hour. unlimited tires that's available. We are going to have a competition caution come out for the drivers, causing a little bit of chaos and calamity for them, or potentially a saving grace for others. 100% race fuel is allowed, so the drivers won't be expected to make a pit stop. iRacing open setups are allowed. I'm your host, Sagar Bakshi, on the comms for you tonight, here from New York, brought to you by V-Speed. It's a pleasure to be with you for West Coast Sim Racing. Let's take a look at the tower and see where everybody falls. So far, it's Nico Colby ahead of Edwin Onofre in P2, Nathaniel Redmond in P3, Josh Hunter in P4, Brandon Birch in P5, Dane Perkins in P6, Mitch Crowther in 7th, Aliski Andreu in 8th, Brendan Myers, Connor T. Cunningham, and Dylan Lee round out the top 11. We're looking at and checking out Brendan Myers on the run right now in 10th position overall and trying to find a deeper spot in that top 10, running the number 23 Red Bull machine. He's looking snazzy out there while he does it. Nathaniel Redmond takes away provisional pole position at the blink of an eye. 144.7 coming in there in the last few moments of the qualifying session. Best over the 144.9 set by Nico Colby. Edwin Onofre not too far back, 135.0 for him. So a good shake up in the running order for now. This is going to keep the points alive, especially if Colby can drive home with a win, making it a new winner for every round of this championship. The wheel blend number 7 looking ever so great on the racetrack. That is such a beautiful livery. I love the paint dripping off the rear end like that. It's such a good looking paint scheme. We're gonna have to talk to Nathaniel Redmond about wheel blend after the broadcast and get to know about this livery company that's designed this one. Nathaniel Redmond last lap around 144.9. Won't do any better on that previous attempt, but still is going to get one more attempt at it. Here comes Edwin Onofre, but has a little bit of traffic ahead of him now. That's the number 93 of Lewis Holloway he's trying to get through. And Lewis Holloway is driving that, well, blue pig for Camber Incaster, as it's not quite the pink pig out there. It's the blue one. Riding on board with Odell. He was battling with Nathaniel Redmond there for just a second, but Nathaniel Redmond was able to get by in the closing stages of qualifying. Now we just have 2 minutes remaining for the drivers to finish up this run, and we will be concluded with this session, and the race will begin. The action has only just begun, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications for when V-Speed goes live next, as Odell has a huge slide coming out of the final corner and will send it down pit road for the end of the session. We'll get the session closed out here in just a few moments' time, and then we'll get the results populated for you and the official grid going in just a few moments' time. Now, Watkins Glen is all about commitment through high-speed corners. The drivers must trust the cars through the S's or risk losing huge chunks of lap time. Drafting is going to play a massive role here, especially down the back straight after the bus stop. Plenty of slipstream battles are going to occur tonight, folks. It's going to be a challenge for who can get it all right. The bus stop chicane was added in 1992, actually, to slow cars down before the fast right-hander. It remains one of the most technical sections on the track. And that's going to officially send us into the end of the qualifying heat, folks. And we'll take a look at our grid. Taking a look at the grid, it was Nathaniel Redmond who took pole position in front of Nico Colby by just about a 2/10 run. Edwin Onofre and Slater Colby on the second row. And then it's going to be on the third row, Josh Hunter and Brandon Birch. On the fourth, it'll be Michael Odell and Dylan Lee. On the fifth, Dane Perkins and Brennan Myers. On the sixth, it'll be Mitch Crowther and Aliski Andreu driving that banana boat. Connor T. Cunningham and Zach Sevier on the seventh. Eighth belonged to George Lawrence and Andreas Profina. Ninth for Sean Stam, the Standman, and Colton Juarez. Lewis Holloway and Miles Guerrero lined the 10th. Igor Rizov in the 333 and 21st, and Joe Rainey in 22nd. And that'll be it for our grid. And it looks like we are going to have a safety car take us away for our start. Now we're ready to go pacing here at Watkins Glen. Thank goodness the weather has cleared up here. It was very cloudy for the practice session, but the sky has seemingly opened up for the race session. Thank goodness. It was dark. It was gloomy. The weather was not looking fantastic. Take a look at the weather right now. It is mostly cloudy, 65 degrees Fahrenheit. The track is around 68 degrees Fahrenheit. So not too bad out there as we see the leader of Nathaniel Redmond pull off the racetrack, and he'll go back up to the front. Okay. But not without causing a little bit of chaos on that race start, or the race, pace lap, I should say. Back up to where he belongs on the racing circuit. Cheers in chat for Dane. That'll be Dane Perkins in the 544. That actually came from Dane Perkins himself, repping Dude Wipes. And cheers for Dylan Lee in 8th position for Lee. Driving the all-black number 2 Porsche 911 Cup 992.2. And drivers coming through the boot now. More specifically, the toe for the head over to the heel. Before we get started with this one, folks, I want to give a big shout out to everybody in the YouTube chat, whether you're here now or in the future. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much for staying tuned. V-Speed appreciates it, and so does the West Coast Sim Racing Organization. If this is something you'd like to get involved in, make sure you check out West Coast Sim Racing and get yourself inserted into your sim rig. Get yourself on track, and you might find yourself caught here on the broadcast. Same time, same place, every single week for the Porsche Carrera Cup. And also check out the GR86 Cup running, and we got a little bit of door banging. Before we even get started, Nico Colby and Nathaniel Redmond exchanging blows. And they might do it again on this raid start. Cheers for George Lawrence. It is a mad dash for race position in the backfield, but up at the front, it looks pretty calm, cool, and collected. And just as I say that, I believe Dane Perkins gets collected in that calamity. And we've got drivers off every which way, and every which way at the front, as well as Nico Colby is through. Brennan Myers in the number 23 is around. Aliski Andreu, Mitch Crother involved, Joe Rainey, and we're losing a handful of cars on this race start here at the Glen. Sean Stan, the Stam man, involved in an incident driving the 000 as well, coming through the bus stop chicane. Let's see if we can get a replay of what happened to the Stam man. Oh, and he was touched from behind. He was pushed. He did not jump all on his own. Checking back in here with the leaders. Coming through the fast and flowy final corners. And it'll be fast and flowy back here for Onofre and Brandon Birch. Up the hill, through the S's, come the leaders. Nothing separating the two of them right now. It's basically nose to tail. Redmond backs off at the bus stop, and the 16 is a little deep in compromise, but nothing holding him back at this point in time. Joe Rainey from Rainey Holmes leads over Michael Odell and Igor Rizkov in the backfield. Was that a spinning George Lawrence? It was a spinning George Lawrence. See if we can get an incident replay and see what happened to Lawrence. Coming out of the outer loop, it all looks okay until he comes down to the chute, and the Red Bull definitely has wings and takes off. The rear end becomes faster than the front end. Up at the front, Nico Colby, the youngster, then driving the number 16, gets the best of Nathaniel Redmond at the start of this race. It'll be continued battle with them up the hill through the S's. This Red Bull definitely has wings, as this one took off at the beginning show. Now another good run for Redmond, but he backs out of it coming through the bus stop. I think he wants to be a little bit more cautious than not. Coming through a dangerous part of the track, like we said at the top of the show, it is the most technical part of this racetrack, and it's been proven time and time again as the drivers continually make mistakes there. Checking out the battle in the backfield. Brennan Myers right now, driving the number 23, was involved in that earlier incident on the recovery drive now. Again, like I said earlier, driving that very snazzy number 23. Now running in 13th place, unfortunately. Still a good chance, but not if you keep on making mistakes like that, touching a little bit of grass, as the kids say these days. The 197 tries to pounce, tries to look for a move. That's Michael Odell looking for a way by through on Brennan Myers. Now it's a good run coming up the hill, but you can't really pass up the hill through the S's. You almost have to back out of your run, or else you'll do that. The 197 colliders with the barriers as he carried too much speed coming through the S's. Up here, it's Colby and Redmond still separated by 0.3 of a second. Battle still rages on with 38 minutes of action left to go. Who do you think's going to come out on top? Will it still be Nico Colby at the end of this run, or will Nathaniel Redmond come out victorious? Guerrero here battling with Josh Hunter coming through the toe. Keeping an eye on that battle for the lead box in the bottom right-hand side of your screen, just to make sure that Nathaniel Redmond isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Aliski Andreu here on that recovery drive as well, trying to charge through the field, driving the number 19. Edwin Onofre all over the rear end and bumper of Brandon Birch, the number 36, into the bus stop chicane. It will be the 36, still leading the 199 Dinosaur Rexy machine. Cheers for Joe Rainey in chat as well. We'll take a good look at Joe Rainey, who's in a bit of a battle. Has Brennan Myers up ahead and Michael Odell lurking behind in that 197. Tons of time left for the drivers to make up positions. Tons of time left for drivers to make mistakes. Here's go to the 000 on the 073. Or is the 073 going to be able to defend from Sean Stam, the Stam man? Nathaniel Redmond charging up the hill through the S's. A bit dangerous here, but you have to do it if you're going to get the run going down into the bus stop chicane. But it looks like Redmond is a little too far back to act on anything this time around. He has a good attacking run through the chicane, though. But again, quite difficult to act on it. I really do think Watkins Glen is just a glorified oval. You are so flat out here for most of the track. It's absolutely bonkers. So the braking zones that you'll face are few and far between. You'll get one at the 90, turn one, and you'll get another opportunity into the inner loop and the bus stop chicane. Other than that, there's not too many places where you can have a great variance of speed to get a good overtake done. Most of the time you're relying on drivers' mistakes. Those mistakes have to come naturally, or you can kind of brew them in front of you. Here's Dane Perkins trying to brew one on Colton Juarez right now. And it will be the 95 of Profino leading this battle of Dane Perkins and Colton Juarez. Back over to the battle for the lead. It's still right where we left it. Coming up the hill through the S's, it's got to be a bump and run for the number 7. He tucks out from the slipstream for the 16. This might be the best opportunity for Nathaniel Redmond to get back into the lead, but he goes in too deep at the bus stop, comes back across the racing line, and Nico Colby is forced to check up there. And another attacking move. This time it's Brandon Birch getting around Slater Colby. Edwin Onofre getting caught up in the mix, and he gets through on Slater. Great battles throughout the field, and we're only 10 minutes or so into this one. The packs are absolutely relentless right now. There's a big hip check from the 95 into the 17 of Joe Rainey, and any hopes and dreams of his race going well are squandered away now. Colton Juarez, Michael Odell, Brennan Myers, Andreas Profina in this four-way squabble. Will be Juarez in the 77 leading the charge now for the Bell Helmets team. The 95 of Profina falls all the way back down to P13. check in with Josh Hunter and Miles Guerrero here, and they're going to go toe-to-toe in the backfield now through the final pair of corners. It will be Hunter around the outside line coming through the final quarter, carrying the speed on Miles Guerrero, driving the green number 26. Warren Johnson here was cheering on Big Joe Rainey. Well, I think Warren Johnson gave him the commentator's curse. '23 trails the 77, but for how long will that last? Because here comes the 23 up the hill, out of the toe with a good run of things, and now it will challenge coming down into the hill. This will be Brennan Myers on Colton Juarez, exchanging moves and exchanging blows. The 23 gets a great overtake on the 77. A little further back from that battle, here is Aliski Andreu with Rizikov ahead. And that'll be Lewis Holloway, the Camber and Castor driver, in the number 93 in the backfield. Checking in up here, the battle for the podium is still very much alive and well. Brandon Birch defends back Edwin Onofre and Slater Colby. But again, how long will this battle last for before it boils over? Nathaniel Redmond and Nico Colby have escaped up the road by around 3.7 seconds to Brandon Birch. That's a good and healthy lead, but it'll all come down to nothing once we get down to the halfway point of this event and the competition caution comes out. Oh, pit stop. There's Odell coming down pit road. Not sure for what reason, as is not an expected pit stop race. And they'll continue to tumble down the order, potentially a fuel issue with his vehicle. And we'll have to check in with Odell a little bit later to find out what exactly happened during our V-Speed post-race show. Things boiled over here as Josh Hunter was able to get by Igor Rizkov. And a big gap formed for Josh Hunter, already nearly 1 second on Igor. Put down a 149 last time around compared to Josh Hunter's 145, so expect Hunter to catch up to quite a few cars in front of him. You can see the gap there for the leaders. Now the run for the 199 of Onofre. Again, not making an attacking glance even. Coming into the bus stop, but a big spin for the 36, and another pirouette for Slater in the background. That was simultaneously happening at the same time, and both incidences happening independently of each other. Holy Toledo. Let's get a replay of that. Checkup 1, good for 2, checkup for 3, and another big hit to the wall. Now, that definitely unleashes Nathaniel Redmond and Nico Colby to battle it out. But Nico Colby is now 2.6 seconds back from the leader. Edwin Onofre free and clear of any battles around him. Slater Colby settles into 4th. Dylan Lee in 5th. Profina here with a run on the 77 of Colton Juarez out in front. Another look, this time into the bus stop. Will it be an attack? It will be for the 95, and he's through on the 77 of Juarez. George Lawrence here, now behind Joe Rainey by just 0.3 of a second, but closing down the gap on Rainey, who was involved in a big accident earlier on in this race. The gap comes down pretty steadily here from Nathaniel Redmond to Colby, as the competition caution has come out. Now, again, this is such a unique thing and format for road racing. It's not something you typically see, and it's a great effect to get the field bunched back up again and to get people battling all over again. It's a great mix-up in strategy for the field, and it also brings in a great point for drivers that maybe didn't have a good first stint or first heat of this race. Well, they're able to recover, catch back up, and potentially get back into some good points paying positions. And it's just something that you really love to see. Again, it's something that you typically see in NASCAR, in oval racing, stock cars, not so much in road racing, but I think this is being used to great use, and it's just such a wonderful thing to happen here for the West Coast Sim Racing. Drivers all getting bunched up. All 22 of them that we started the race with are still here, ready to charge forward. Drivers trying to regenerate heat in their tires. Zach Severe being the culprit of doing it the most, looking for that little bit of an edge on this race restart. Looks like we didn't get the field entirely bunched up, so it will be one more behind the safety car. Is Dane Perkins talking while driving or texting while driving? There is Dane Perkins, started in 9th place, running in 8th place. Said he was dead last on the start, though. We'll have to take Dane's word for it on that one. But let's go indeed, Dane. That's a good looking result for you. Glad you're being able to climb back in, and glad that you kept your neck still in it, because a lot of people would have given up at this point in time. But I think the competition caution, like I said, brings out, well, more competition. Hopefully the race restart goes a little bit greener and a little bit cleaner than the first time around. Restarts here are very intense as the field funnels down in towards one at a high rate of speed. Tire wear through some of the high-speed corners will sneak up on some of the field later on in their stints. But we'll have to see what the pace looks like as time goes on. Watkins Glen hosted Formula One from 1961 to 1980, making it one of the most historic circuits in North American road racing. And of course, it's been a staple of NASCAR road racing since 1986. Nico Colby has led us for 6 laps, but will he lead us for the one that matters most, the one that takes the checkered flag? It'll be a hard-pressed battle between Nathaniel Redmond and Nico Colby on the race restart. Pace car is in. Redmond controls the field now. And it's green, green, green here for West Coast Racing and V-Speed, folks. The run down towards one is looking chaotic again in the backfield, but will it be green and clean? Not for the 23 at the very least. Oh my goodness, that'll be Brennan Myers getting caught out in that one. And there's a spin. That'll be Nico Colby going around up the hill through the S's. That'll give Slater Colby P2. Edwin Onofre stays in third. Andreas Profina advances all the way up into P5 on this race restart. Now there's a big look from the pink pig or the blue pig of Lewis Holloway, who's made it all the way up into P7 on this race restart. Crazier things have not happened in road racing. This is absolute insanity. And the 502 of Tanner T. Cunningham makes an excursion off track. Will most likely lose the position to Nico Colby and Colton Juarez there. Oh no, Igor Rizgov off at the heel or at the chute, it looks like. And so is the 502. Connor T. Cunningham getting sucked up into that one as well. Back up to the battle for the lead, separated by half a second. Here is Joe Rainey on his great recovery drive right now. Up into P8 and challenging for more. There's Lewis Holloway in the number 93 camber and caster machine. Blue pink pig trying to defend for Rainey, but can't do it. There's the 95 going into the wall, and everybody has to take avoiding action there. And this might threaten the 17th stance going down in towards one, but he manages to hold on and stay in front. Through the S's we go. And this is going to be Lewis Holloway's opportunity to go door to door at one of the most fastest parts of the track and most dangerous places to go side by side. But we make it through unscathed here at West Coast Racing. Rainey leads Holloway over Andreu, over Lawrence, over Profina in this 5-car battle. Big defensive stance for Aliski Andreu coming down into the toe. Defending back from George Lawrence. George Lawrence driving the number 81 Red Bull machine, trying to get by the banana boat ahead of Aliski Andreu. Has a couple Borks in front, and they're both going to make an excursion deep and wide at turn one. And I think George Lawrence probably did that in avoidance more than anything on lap 17. Now, Onofre now within attacking distance of Nathaniel Redmond and the lead of the race. 2/10 separates the duo. Last lap around nearly identical between Redmond and Onofre. 1:45.488 to 4:5.50. But seemingly on this lap, Redmond loses out pace and Onofre able to close down the gap. Oh no, Zach Severe is off. Oh no, let's get a replay of what happened to Severe. .714 of Severe is looking okay. Coming out of the heel. Into the falling corner, just the rear end demanded to be faster than the front and came around on him. George Lawrence here in a bit of a squabble now between Dylan Lee in front of him and Andreas Profina. Zach Severe leads this charge. And an absolute sends for the drivers through the chicane, hop, skipping, and jumping their way through. Change for the lead as Onofre gets through on Redmond. We're going to have to get a replay of what happened here. And seemingly already happened. Little mistake coming through the final corner. Well, nothing to write home about until you clatter with the wall, and the 199 will go through without hesitation. .950 remaining in this race. Again, plenty of time for more positions to change up. Now, who's going to make the next mistake? Will it be Michael Odell, who's battling with Dane Perkins out on the racetrack? Now Dane Perkins falling back to P13 on this run, was up into P9 at one point in time. Now, unfortunately, the Jaws music is playing as Nico Colby closes down on Dane. Nico Colby a little too far back, but that's not the same for Nathaniel Redmond right now, battling with Onofre. Run down into the bus stop chicane. Looking good for Nathaniel Redmond, and they both go sailing over the chicane, but it's worse for Onofre as he falls back into P2. More battling brewing. This time it's Dylan Lee getting passed by Profina. Nico Colby gets the move done at the chicane on Dane Perkins this time. Back over to Zach Severe, battling with Oliski Andreu in that banana boat. Battle for the lead has opened up to 1.8 seconds from Redmond to Onofre, who made that clean move at the bus stop chicane. Jostling and moving, 95 defends hard from the number 2 of Dylan Lee, who I'm sure isn't pleased with the moving under braking. It gets the move done at the S's anyways, or is it done at the S's as the 2 clatters with the Smurf barriers and falls out of fair. Now, George Lawrence and Profina are going to go toe-to-toe coming into the bus stop chicane, and it will be George Lawrence advancing his position over Andreas Profina. P9 for Lawrence, P10 for Profina, Dylan Lee in P11, Michael Odell in P12, Nico Colby in 13th, and Dane Perkins 1 second back from there in P15. Now the competition caution really brought out the best of everybody to try to shake up the standings, but it wasn't enough for some. Edwin Onofre gave Nathaniel Redmond a good run for his money. At the end of the day, the gap still sits at 2.3 seconds. This will be the first repeat win of the series happening in round 3 if it goes the way of Nathaniel Redmond. As it sits, it's looking good for the man driving the number 7. George Lawrence still in the mix-up. Dane Perkins losing out a few, down in 15th position now. Michael Odell still closing down on Dylan Lee. Up ahead, looks for the outside line here at the toe. Tries to get a good exit. Now the run down towards the heel will be promising for the 197 of Odell. It will be a slip up for the 2, all on his own on the outside line, and Odell goes through. George Lawrence has the likes of Zach Severe in front, driving the 714 Iron Dames machine. By the looks of it, folks, we'll get this lap plus one more. So white flag for the leader next time by. Will it be an attack for Arliski Andreu on Lewis Holloway, though? In the closing stages, he's looking menacing right now. And same thing for Odell, trying to battle with Andreas Profina in the number 95. 197 is going to go deep here at the toe, trying to go around the outside line of the 95. It's going to work to carry the speed and momentum coming down towards the heel. The 197 is going to defend hard but fair. Up ahead, Andreu and Lewis Holloway are going to exchange a little bit of paint there. The yellow cutting marks now seemingly belonging to Aleksej Andreu as he's getting cut up as these two are having a knife fight in a phone booth. White flag is waving from Barney. The 19 looks for a lunge on the inside line, but Aleksej Andreu can't find the daylight to close down on Lewis Holloway, who's looking good for P6 right now. Zach Severe closing down in the background as well, trying to find better than P8. Glued all over the rear wing, trying to go for a pass in the grass, coming down into the bus stop chicane. Who's going to lead? It will be Holloway, then the 714, then the 19 of Aleksej Andreu. Michael Odell and Nico Colby get into it. Oh no, and Colby's going to go back to the pits immediately. Nathaniel Redmond bringing it home to the checkered flag. Started in first, hard fought battle to take the checkered flag, had everybody coming after him, but he does take the checkered flag and the top step of the podium here tonight. Edwin Onofre in P2, Slater Colby in P3. Brandon Birch brings home fourth, Joe Rainey in fifth, Zach Severe in sixth with George Lawrence in seventh, Michael Odell in eighth, Lewis Holloway in ninth, and Andreas Profina in 10th. It was Redmond, Onofre, Colby, then Birch, Rainey, Severe, Lawrence, Odell, Profina, then Holloway, Myers, Andreu, Lee, Perkins, Juarez, Colby, Rizkov, Cunningham, Guerrero, Crowther, Hunter, and then the Stam Man rounding out all of the participants tonight. Let's see if we can talk to our race winner. Let's see if Nathaniel Redmond is walking up to the broadcast booth now. It is going to be Nathaniel Redmond walking up to the broadcast booth. Let me open the door and allow him to come in. Nathaniel Redmond, thank you very much for walking into the V-Speed broadcast booth here in New York. How are you feeling after a hard-fought battle for P1? Oh, hold on one second. We're having a little bit of a technical issue. Always happens like this. Mic check.
I got you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Got you loud and clear now. Perfect. Hard fought battle. You said you shouldn't feel relieved. Why is that?
So, real quick, who did that conversation go to?
Nathaniel Redmond.
Okay. No, I feel great.
Okay.
Yeah, it was an awesome race. I feel super relieved. Again, great fought battles by Nico and Edwin. I think we both ended up kind of exchanging positions at the chicane, which is like the #1 spot. I kind of didn't want to do that at. So
Yeah.
glad everybody survived and had a good race. And I think the one thing that I can take away from the third race of this season is that I don't know how we can do it, but we need some sort of like tire warmer for the restarts because it is just insane how cold the tires get, and I think nobody
Really?
really realizes. And so we were all just on complete ice cinder blocks those first two like restart laps. So
Oh
hoping we can
man.
fix that. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it was a great race. I felt pretty confident, and I think everybody raced clean around me, and I really enjoyed it.
It was a great race. I was thoroughly entertained from green to checkered flag. Anybody you'd like to shout out or anybody you'd like to thank, Mr. Redmond?
Yeah, just wheelblend.com, and then Warren Johnson for hosting the league, and obviously everybody that comes and to the West Coast Sim Racing League. I really appreciate everybody coming out to kind of race with me and race everybody else. So it's been great.
Oh, I meant to ask. Speaking of Wheelblend, company, industry, business, what is it? And do you mind sharing a little bit about the livery as well? Because it looks great on track.
Yeah, sure, sure. So Wheelblend is my company. It allows you to go on there, and if you have any wheels that you want to see on your car, you can upload a photo of them, and it kind of transposes those wheels onto your car in a very realistic manner. So if you're thinking about buying wheels and you don't know how they're going to look on your car, just go to wheelblend.com, upload a photo of your car, upload a photo of the wheels you want, and it'll show you a perfectly rendered version of those wheels on your car. Delivery, I made it myself about 2 weeks ago before the season, so kind of inspired obviously by wheelblend.com. We're still trying to get a race team together for that maybe, and I think we'll maybe all share kind of cool liveries. But yeah, it's been really awesome running that. And again, if anybody needs a discount code, I've got them, so just hit me up if they need it.
Well, if I use your discount code in Wheelblend, do I get a cool livery like that? Because that's the deal
We'll have to work on that. You can DM me and we can figure it out, the details for sure, for sure.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Daniel Redmond. Really appreciate you.
Course.
Have a great night, brother.
Appreciate y'all.
Over to P2. This one's going to be shot over to Edwin Onofre. Now, questions being fired at the hip. Brother, how are you feeling tonight after a hard-fought battle?
Okay, now I can answer this properly.
Yes.
I feel a little sick right now, so that's been happening since the start of the day. So I was not really.
Oh, are you still there? Do we still have Edwin Onofre? Edwin, do we have you back?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry.
No.
I think Discord's having a glitch. It was doing it earlier for us for some reason.
And it happened as well for me earlier, so it's just a technical hiccup. We have to live with it. But I apologize to cut you off, Edwin. But like you were saying, you feel a little bit under the weather today?
Yeah, just a little bit under the weather, and I'll make this quick just to prevent any future interruptions. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I had no experience with the open setup. I actually literally ended up using the Imola setup around here because it's kind of similar where there's a lot of sweeping corners and some tight hairpins. So high downforce was absolutely necessary, but it did not account for the curbs. So the bus stop is in particular is something that you have to try to keep on your toes so that we can stabilize the car. But yeah, it was a pretty good race between Redmond and Slater Colby. We had good races right there, and I like to thank those guys for keeping it clean, as well as a few other contenders who was up front with us, such as Brandon Birch. I gotta give an apology to him because I think on that restart I unintentionally bumped into him while trying to avoid, I believe Nico Colby, actually, on that restart because of the cold tires, like Redmond was saying. But yeah, that was a pretty good race right there.
It sure was a great race. Thank you very much, Edwin Onofre. Anybody you'd like to shout out or anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
At the Tech Sport Racing, they had a pretty good weekend at the Arlington Grand Prix for Saturday and Sunday. I got to meet a few of the drivers right there, and I got to meet some of the other drivers who actually compete in this league too. One of them was Jeremy Fletcher, and I did get a quick discussion with him. Pretty good right there. And then I'd like to thank you guys for hosting up this league. Pretty good. Thank you, Discount Tire, and Thank you to all my coworkers and all the people who are watching the stream right now, that I'm also streaming right now. And last but not least, thank you for inviting me over for the post-race interview.
No problem. Hope to see you next week, Mr. Onofre. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
And last but not least, we're going to have to talk to the number 25 of Slater Colby, who had a very interesting run of events tonight and probably an unexpected podium. How do you feel about the turn of events?
I can't complain. Honestly, I haven't really driven this car. Warren was, telling me that I should race it. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll race it. So my expectations are super low. Actually, my quali lap was with my headset off and on the phone, and I was able to get a P4 lap time, so that wasn't terrible. But it was so much tire management and trying to get the heat in the tires, like Nathaniel was saying, and especially after the restart. I mean, I got into second behind Nathaniel, and then I think it was like turn 6 or something. I just like it was gonna lose it on me, so I lost some spots there, but. Come out on the podium, can't really complain about that. It was definitely an eventful one. These cars are very tricky to drive. I'm mainly just a Mazda and GR guy, so this is definitely something very different.
Oh, if Mazda and GRs are your forte, this is absolutely a different forte or a different beast entirely. You're doing very well in your class right now, Slater Colby. Anybody you'd like to shout out or anybody you'd like to thank on the evening?
Yeah, you for broadcasting. The streams are great to come back and watch. Warren for putting on a good league. Everyone showing up week in, week out. These leagues are because I run the Apex League, so I know how much work goes into this. So we appreciate everyone, that shows up and whatnot. And vehiclebuyers.com, overstockvehicles.com, JFR Racing, friends and family at home watching, and yeah.
Right on. Thank you very much, Slater, for joining us in the V-Speed broadcast booth here in New York. Have a great night and stay safe as always.
You too. Thank you.
And that's going to wrap things up for us here from the V-Speed booth in New York. Well, Watkins Glen in New York. I must say, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you very much for staying tuned. It's been a pleasure to take you from green to checkered flag, but all good things must come to a close, and so must this. Must say, it's been a pleasure to be here with the West Coast Sim Racing organization because they provide some great racing action, and the grid is stacked with well-equipped drivers to handle the challenges week after week. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications of when we go live next. We'll see you next Monday for West Coast Sim Racing GR86 Cup Racing live on V-Speed. Have a great night, and as always, make sure you stay safe out there. Goodbye for now.